What's up, guys? Chad here with the Reptile Rangers. Now we're at the Kernersville Reptile Zoo and Medical Center again today, and we're going to talk about a topic that should be kind of a no-brainer by this point, but you still find people really not knowing the difference, and stores still not really caring. All right. Now, before we get into this, right there in that corner is our subscriber button. Go ahead and hit that. For those that have, we appreciate you hitting the subscribe button and following along week after week after week. Right. The ever popular heat rock, all right? World's worst item you can buy from a pet store anymore is the heat rock. This right here, okay? Now, the concept was a really cool idea, okay? So I'll be the first to admit that it was a really good idea. It was thought out to be a really good thing, but of course we know some of the worst things in history have happened under the best intentions. Now, with the intentions of the heat rock was a really good idea in the fact of having something that looks really cool inside of your habitat that is electric producing and will produce heat, so that not just the heat lamps and things that come from on top of your habitat is the only things producing heat. It's meant to mimic sunlight beating onto a rock and a rock absorbing sunlight, absorbing warmth, so that way when your lizard, your snake, even your turtle or tortoise can go on that rock and get warm on their belly as well as on their back from the sunlight. However, the problem has come is they were very piss poorly made, okay? Not a very good design. Even though the idea was a great idea, the design was very poorly done. They short circuit so often. And the problem is most of the time your owners, your pet owners don't pay attention to it, and those heat rocks just continue to heat, never turning off. The built-in thermostat goes bad very quickly, and it causes third-degree burns. Over the years, from 80s to the 90s, even the early and mid 2000s, we were seeing a lot of issues from heat rocks. Now, I'm not going to say those pads, those stick on the bottom heating pads are a whole heck of a lot better, because they essentially will do the same thing. People will call us and they're like, oh man, my snake's belly is pink. And if we know for a fact that it's not scale rot, but we can see the pink coloration, 9 times out of 10 it's because they set on a surface that was too hot for too long, and they ended up getting what we would consider belly burns, or what would be almost like a sunburn. Even if it hasn't actually scorched the belly, that pinkening is where it's gotten a little bit too warm. But in this particular case, we're just specifically talking about the heat rock. Absolute world's worst thing that you can buy from the pet store to put in your habitat. No, I'm not really trying to pick on pet stores here recently. It's not so much the pet store's fault, even though the employees should be trained. It comes down to the morons, the think tanks that work with in these corporations, and the idiot, either the idiot vets or those idiot so-called experts that's telling them, oh yeah, put this in the store, this is good, this is good, this is good. Yeah, no, they're full of crap, okay? Quit wasting your money on these products, because realistically speaking, it's going to do you more harm than good. And that's kind of the point of what we're trying to point out here of recently in the education, is just saving your money on things that the stores generally tend to sell, and a lot of times it's a bad item like the heat rock. Now, if you're going to have something along the lines of belly heat, the stick-on pads, yes, they're a little bit better, but they do go bad over time. They can cause burns on your animals if they decide not to move. The better belly heat things to use would be things like heat tape, because you can put a probe to it. But if you're using belly heat like a stick-on pad, go ahead and get a thermostat, okay? Now, again, this is just kind of going over items that could be readily bought and are sold on a daily basis that were generally meant and designed as a good idea, but the problem was the end product is not so great, and it can cause a lot of problems with inside of your habitat, and it can cause fires, and it can also cause problems on your animal itself by just giving them these nasty burns to their bellies and to their limbs, okay? Now, this is do not buy heat rocks from the pet store, all right? And we are the Reptile Rangers. This is the the Kernersville Reptile Zoo. This is Chad again. We appreciate you following along week after week after week. Make sure to hit the subscribe, the like, the bell for notification. And if you have any questions, feel free to get with us in the information below. Our description, the zoo's information is there. People are contacting us all the time about help with all kinds of questions. Feel free to leave a comment. We appreciate you following along. Make sure to write us in if there's other things that you want us to see about. Absolutely, we're trying to keep caught up on all the requests for different topics of filming. Again, this is Chad. We appreciate you following along, and we will either see you here at the zoo or we'll see you on the next episode. Later.